All right, good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you joining us today for Coach Harson's weekly press conference. We'll go ahead and let Coach make a few opening comments, and then we'll take questions from the comments. Coach?
All right, new week. Getting ourselves prepared for practice on Tuesday. Thought the guys came in on Sunday focused, and we were able to go through the previous game and look at some of the things we did well and things we have to correct. Our players of the game on offense, Jarquez Hunter. Defense was Roger McCreary with the interception. That was a big play for us. Special teams was Barton Lester. And then D-line was Marquise Burks. And yesterday's practice was good. We got a chance to get a few things done from the previous game, get ahead a little bit on Penn State, and start getting ourselves ready for the week. We got some of the developmental guys some work in practice. That went well. And then, obviously this week, focus is travel and doing something that we haven't done at this point. We haven't traveled together yet. We haven't been on the road, the environment. I think we understand, we got to prepare ourselves for that. And so we'll be doing those things as we get into practice. And just, Penn State, 2-0. They played some two really good teams, in my opinion. Wisconsin, the first game, who was always very good each and every year. And, just a little bit about these guys, some guys that we've seen that stand out. Dotson, one of their wide receivers, third team All-Big Ten, honorable mention All-American. Parker Washington was a freshman All-American, another wide receiver. Their running back set records as a freshman, very good player, had some injuries, but is back from that. The quarterback has had 22 starts, and very good player. Does a very good job for them. And so offensively, they're explosive, and those are things that we have to focus on this week. And things that we've seen the last couple games that they've been able to do. Defensively, red zone defense, that's one that stands out. They're second in the Big Ten, 12th overall. So they've done a very good job there. Scoring defense, 21st in the country right now. Turnovers forced, they're 16th, so they're doing a good job of getting the ball from the teams they play. And they got some guys returning, mostly in the secondary, a couple in the secondary there, but some guys that stand out. Their inside linebacker, number 13, number 17, their D-end, and their free safety, number 1. So they're going to have some different packages for us on that side of the ball from what we've seen. Special teams, they've done very well. They got a very good punter, kicker, and a place kicker does it all, Jordan Stout. I don't think there's been any returns. And, he's shown to be a very good player and has a big leg. So they've done some good things on special teams. Their long snapper's very solid. So there's things that we got a chance to look at here from Sunday and into this morning on Penn State. And you can see they're a very good team, and they have a chance to, again, be at home. And we know that we got to handle our business this week as far as just getting ourselves prepared and ready to go out there and have a great Tuesday practice, and then as the week goes on, have ourselves ready to travel, make sure that we handle, whatever comes with our travel plans. If there's a little adversity, we handle that, and then have ourselves ready to play on Saturday and go out there and hopefully play our best football of the season, be better than we were the last two games, learn from those games, learn from the things that we know we need to improve on, and make that happen through this week of preparation, and then, just have everybody focused on the things that we need to do that are important and that would matter for us to have ourselves a good week of preparation. So with that, open up for questions.
Coach, first question today comes from Christian Clemente.
Brian, Sean Shivers wasn't out there on Saturday. Do you expect him to be available for the Penn State game?
Well, I hope all those guys that didn't play. Nothing's season ending, so I hope all those guys day to day, and we can get a chance to get some of those guys back.
Next question from John Zener.
Hey, Coach, obviously the level of competition goes way up from here, but could you evaluate the play of your defense? I mean, anytime you pitch a shutout or don't allow a point in the first 3 quarters of 2 games, pretty good.
Well, it is, and to have a shutout, make no mistake about it, that's very hard to do. And so I was proud of our guys. I told them that. Proud of our defensive staff. I thought they prepared well. And, we were able to, on special teams, that was a big turning point in the game. The block that that Kobe Wooden had, and then Nehemiah Pritchett taking that back for a touchdown. That was a momentum changer in the game. And so we made some big plays on special teams that kept Alabama State from scoring. And I thought Alabama State did a good job. They played hard. They prepared themselves well. And, but we were able to, in the red zone, make the plays that we needed to not allow them to score points. And so defensively, we just got to build on that. That's one thing over the last 2 games, really for everybody, that we need to build on the things that we've done well, and we need to be consistent in those areas. And then we need to correct the things that we did not do well, and we have to focus on that and make sure that those do get done, especially this week. As you mentioned, the level of competition, the type of team that Penn State has, those are things that we really have to focus even more on this week as we're going into Game 3, but also to have ourselves on the defensive side in the right position, ready to play each and every down with the right alignments, the right communication, and then just more consistency, really. But overall, the 0 points is a big accomplishment for the defense, and those guys are proud of that. Now we can take that and we can apply it to this week and just make sure that we're getting better from the things that we did the last 2 games.
JG Tate.
Yeah, Bryan, question about you going into halftime. You're not exactly enthused about everything you're seeing on the field, and I know your team came out and played a lot differently in the third quarter. How do you go about business there? Do you just go in there and just kind of chew ass to the team, or do you go group to group, or you just kind of convey yourself more calmly? How do you handle that?
Just come right out and say it. No, well, let me just say this. What happened, right? We came out of halftime. Alabama State got the ball back, so I don't think that we were extremely focused necessarily, and our defense bailed us out. So it was early, right out of the gate, a continuation of some of the just things that we made mistakes on in the first half. And no, I mean, I made my comments going in after pregame. Usually we wait until right before we come out, and I have a few things to say to the team before we get on the field, and I brought them up right after pregame because, just from a focus standpoint, like you gotta have yourself ready to play. I don't care if it's 11 a.m., 6 o'clock, it doesn't matter. You can do anything for 4 hours, and it just goes back to like what matters. What's the most important thing? Were our smoothies, were they cold enough, that morning? I have no idea. I mean, it's just sometimes we focus on things that don't matter, and really we need to be focused on our execution and even coming out of halftime. So they get a bloop on us right out of halftime, and our defense bails us out. So we weren't focused on that. So and those are things that we've hit and covered, obviously not very well, or we haven't paid attention to very well, because we seem to forget day in and day out for some reason the things that we go over, and those things need to end. But that was what showed up to me in the first half. I mean, we had 4 drops, we had penalties, we had offside penalties. I mean, we were undisciplined and didn't play fundamentally sound like I know we're capable of doing, and that just goes back to worrying about things that actually matter. And that starts on Sundays, catching the ball, 2 eyes and 2 hands, watching the ball on defense so we're not offsides, not having penalties and having 10 guys on the field, because we did that a couple times in the game, and those are things that we spend a lot of time on preparing for, and then we don't focus properly, and those things happen. So it was really just a matter of fact at halftime, like it's been every single day. I mean, it wasn't like there was anything magical that happened at halftime that we haven't talked about day in and day out. And at some point, we're going to have to remember some of those things that happened to us and actually do them again the next day and do them again because they've been emphasized, and make sure that somehow along the way we don't forget the most obvious things that are going to help us play good football. So That's my opinion of it. And then we came out in the third quarter, we put some things together, and we made some plays, and then we got going. We created some momentum, but focus on the things that matter. Worry about the things from Sunday to Friday that are the most important things. Try not to forget, the stuff that we've talked about that's already been put in, and somehow we just can't remember that at certain times because that's what's going to happen in games. You're not going to play very well, and you're not going to have the consistency that you need to go out there and play good football. And then just, as we continue on this season, pay attention to the things that matter that we talk about, not so much of what happens on the outside. And, we don't need any more opinions. We just need to focus on playing good football and doing the things that we talk about each and every week, and then try to remember it and do it and apply it in game time.
Michael Giddens.
Coach, Jarquez Hunter had another strong showing on Saturday. What kind of role do you got carved out for him potentially on the road versus Penn State? And then also, what are you guys doing in practice this week to prepare for crowd noise in Happy Valley?
Yeah, so, Jarquez, let me say this. Jarquez is continuing to keep developing himself. He had the longest run in history, which was a little surprising. There's been some really good players at the tailback position that have come out of this program. And so we gave him the game ball at the end of the game, and that was a great accomplishment. I'm very proud of him, too, because what I say about Jarquez is humble. He works every single day. He focuses on trying to be the best that he can every single day. And he's getting more experience with his opportunities to play. And I'm excited about his future and how much he can continue to keep developing. And that needs to happen as the season goes on. But he's got a role on this team, and, it's going to continue to, grow, and he'll have opportunities that way. So I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of what he was able to accomplish. Anytime you set a record, that's a cool thing to do. The crowd noise, there's a lot of different ways, and it's interesting because when you get on a new staff, everybody's done things differently, and so I've actually kind of enjoyed hearing the different ways that people have prepared for the noise. But ultimately, we have speakers, we have a speaker system and all that. I don't think that we're going to get it exactly like it's going to be on game night, but we'll crank the music up, or the sound and the crowd noise and music, whatever it is that we have to use to make it very loud. And then we're going to have to simulate a little bit, that we can't hear at certain times. So be ready for that. And then I think ultimately, part of playing on the road, in a big crowd, you do have crowd noise. You do need to deal with that. But it's all the other things, too. You're not going to have the rest of your team. We travel 80 guys, and maybe that might even be better for us at the end of the day. So, just more focus because there's less distractions on the side. But you don't have your entire team on the field there. You don't have the whole entourage of everybody on the sideline. And so you got to get that motivation and support from your teammates on the sideline there. And we got to do a great job of being able to just identify, what's happening and know that the other 10 guys around you are going to do their job. And that's a big part of preparation, is knowing the guys around you are going to do their job, and because there may not be an opportunity to communicate. And our defense has had to deal with that at home the last two games. When our crowd has been loud and making it difficult on the offense, our defense, they're not really having a chance to communicate, so they got to do it a certain way. And now it's roles reversed. Our offense has a chance to do things differently and communicate a little bit differently, and they're going to have to do that in the game. So it starts immediately. It starts, and we work on that through the entire week. And then, by the end of it, that should just be another factor that comes with playing on the road and being prepared for that when we get out there and play on Saturday. And if we do that right, that shouldn't be, too much of a factor for us. Although, the energy of playing on the road, I think, just like at home, we talked about it, we can't simulate, what happens at home, and there's an energy and an excitement, And I think this is part of, what makes college football and just football in general so special is you get to play in environments like that. Embrace it. Be a guy that embraces that. Enjoy the opportunity to play in somebody else's house and to go in there and play good football. And so, to me, it's more really about the mindset that you take into the week and what you have as you look forward to playing on the road and somewhere else. It really starts upstairs, and it's already begun. We'll see how we handle that on Tuesday, and that's not going to be an excuse for us. We're not going to let that be, and we're not going to make any excuses throughout the week. We'll have all the opportunities to prepare ourselves properly, and if we do that right, then it's just a matter of getting out there and playing, enjoying the environment, enjoying the opportunity to be in somebody's house, and then going out there and executing what we need to do.
Justin Hokanson.
Hey, Bryan. Yeah, kind of on that, I was going to ask how you sort of approach making sure your team is focused, not just the game. It's going to be a completely different environment, but really the week. You mentioned being day to day and just taking it one game at a time. How do you make sure that they're not already on Saturday when it's just Monday?
Well, yeah, that's great. That's a great question. I mean, that's the reality of it. I don't know in their minds, but we talked about it on Sunday. We talked about, and even back this up. Let's go back, months ago. This wasn't the first time that we had this conversation. Now that we're on the road, we've had this conversation long ago, and that's what I'm saying. Like we got to remember those things and recall these type of conversations that we've had about. All right, it's Sunday. Let's focus on Sunday. It's Monday. What are you going to do today to get yourself prepared for Tuesday's practice? And here's the reality. Some guys when you have a chance to go play every week, there's guys that have a purpose from Sunday all the way through game day that they want to win, and they're preparing to win. Some guys want to go out there and just participate and be a part of it. So the reality of it is, like, what we did yesterday matters for what happens on Saturday, but we needed to really focus on Sunday because there was a lot of things that we needed to get right. And we needed to make sure that from a mindset standpoint, we were in the right frame of mind. And today's no different. Guys are going to come in and they're going to watch and study and prepare and be better than they were last week. It's not like we got to throw a cape on now and start doing things completely different. Just be better than you were the week before. Have a better process. That's really what it should be every single week. And some guys will do it. But the biggest thing is just the distractions that come with, playing on the road, playing in a game like we're going to play. I think there's a lot of positive things around the game that we all can enjoy and know that it's a part of just having a great challenge on Saturday. But it comes down to the maturity of our team, the leadership of our team, and our coaches will continue to talk to our players about it. We just, we need everybody in this circle on this team just to be locked into what we know is the most important thing, which today is about preparation, tomorrow about our practice, and putting all that together throughout the week so we can play well on Saturday, and just, not having everybody else's opinion. People come out of nowhere when all of a sudden, you're gonna play in a game on the road against Penn State, and the guys just have to be mature enough not to listen to all that and stay focused on the things that we've been doing that have got us to where we are right now, and then be better at it this week. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, you should be the best football player that you've been your entire life on this Tuesday practice that we're going to have, because that's how it should be. You're the most experienced and mature and the most physical player you've been. So, if that's not the case, then, we're not preparing ourselves to play the game that we need to play in order to win.
Tom Green.
Hey, Bryan, I was just wondering how you would assess Bo's performance against Alabama State and what you feel he needs to improve on heading into that road game next week.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. We had the one turnover there. We got to take care of it. Ball security is extremely important. That's the most important thing. And there were some good things in there. I thought there were still some good decisions made. We needed to help our quarterback. We got to catch the ball. So that's a big part of it as well. at the quarterback position, but I think he's prepared himself. Coach Bobo and Bo have done a good job. I was pleasantly, not surprised. I was happy with Finley's performance. I thought, him coming in there and getting a chance to play a little bit more, and the deep ball that he threw, both he and Bo had one. That was good to see. So he hit some big plays that way, and I think both those guys are preparing and getting better each week. I think Coach Bobo has done a good job with them. I think they understand the plan, what we need to do, how we're going to take care of the ball, the things that we're trying to get done as far as, just operating the offense. And now this week will be new. The new thing will be the noise and some of the other things you have to do on the road from that position. And those guys, they've worked on it. They'll do it all week. And I think Bo, is going to handle that just fine. And it's just a matter of, like I said, like everything I've said, it really just applies back to him as well, as far as let's get ourselves ready to go. He's studying film today. He's getting himself prepared for Tuesday. Majority of the stuff goes in on Tuesday, so he needs to have himself ready to go so we can have a good practice. To me, that's the thing about the quarterback position is it's not just on game day. If you don't have a good Tuesday, it really affects everybody on the offensive side of the ball. So you got to be on. Like there's really, there's no days off at quarterback. Like you got to be on every day of the week so that we can get the reps and the looks and the right speed and all the things that we have to do to get our offense prepared to go play the way we want to on Saturday. And that starts with the quarterback. And so no different. Focus, preparation, mentality, handling adversity, responding properly. Those are all the things that our quarterback has to do to be able to go on the road and win a game.
Nathan King.
Hey, Bryan, in your coaching career, not just at Boise State, what are some of the qualities of a team that can go and get a win in a game like this that's been anticipated for a long time? Just a couple years ago, y'all did it at Florida State, at Boise State. And do you see those qualities in this team you've got right now?
Yeah, I think leadership is a big part, huge. I think that's got to be, if not the main factor, but one of them. I think teams that like to be coached, so coming off of 2 games that we've won, that they still want to be coached and they still want to have their notebooks out and listen and pay attention and write things down and even become better, a better student of the game and better at their preparation and better practice habits as the season goes on. I think teams that are resilient, so how do we handle adversity? What's that going to look like and how we're going to handle, like one of the things you got to be prepared for is even just like Friday and the travel, like how we travel. Something happens to the bus, something happens to the plane's late, the rooms aren't ready, you didn't have the bed that you wanted, whatever it is. I mean, there's always something. When you have that many people, there's always something, and just how we handle that, the travel, and then how we handle ourselves on game day. I mean, just being resilient and being able to respond, I think, are big keys. And those are things to me that I think good teams have, and that's something I think we're building that. Right now, I mean, those are things that we have to continue to work on. I don't know if we've had all those things happen to us at this point. They have, maybe not on the field, but at other times in our program. And so I think the leadership, we got to continue to keep developing that. I think, being coachable and having great practice habits and preparation habits, that has to continue to improve. I think our resiliency is extremely, extremely important. And then just, like, even for our young guys and just overall program, like just the toughness of our team, the being able to go in the weight room and hit the weight room and be on time like you're supposed to, be where you're supposed to be, go to class, like just all the things that make a week successful. That's what I think good teams do, so that you have very little distractions going into a game on the road like Penn State, so that you can have everybody locked in throughout the week. So when it comes Saturday morning and you hit your kind of final walkthroughs and all that, like guys are nodding their head, they're ready to go. And we didn't have 10 little issues from the previous week leading into that game that causes, coaches to have to focus on other things than just getting themselves and their players ready for the game. And so that really comes back to us. It's every guy on this team just doing their job like they're supposed to, doing it consistently, not forgetting the things that have already been emphasized, and being a consistent team with those other qualities I mentioned.
Jordan Hill.
Bryan, what are your thoughts on your offensive line through 2 games, and just what is the challenge the Penn State front is going to present on Saturday?
Well, I think Penn State's front's very good. I think their front 7, they do a very good job. I think their linebackers are very good players. That's a program that's had historically very good linebackers in it. And their D-line plays hard. I think schematically they do things with them that creates a challenge. So, that's going to be something for our offensive line that we know that we have to go out there and we've got to be able to get that done from this week in practice. We need a great look from our scout team. So, the guys that are on the scout team and all that, they can't go out there and be lazy and give us cruddy looks and not go hard and not care about their importance of getting our offensive line ready. And I think the O-line, line's done a good job. I think they've been solid. I think we've improved in some areas. I think we need to continue to be consistent, but I like the work ethic that the O-line has shown. I like the attitude of the O-line. I think guys have been focused the way they need to, day to day, to do the things that Coach Friend and our offensive scheme and Coach Bobo need from the O-line. But there's still 1 or 2 guys in there that we need to lock in even more and get a little bit better so that we can be stronger with those 5, and then the 7 guys that kind of rotate in and out, that we can be really strong with those 7 guys. And then we need some other guys to step up and just be better in their preparation and show it in practice so that we can be deeper if there's any depth or injuries that might happen, that we can have some depth, and we need that as well. And so that we're developing that really each and every day, and I think we've improved. This week is another opportunity for that to keep developing and hopefully shining when we get a chance to go out there and play Saturday.
David Ubben.
Yeah, Coach. What were your early impressions of Tank Bigsby, and how would you describe what you've seen from him since you've been at Auburn?
Yeah, I like Tank a lot. I think one of the things about Tank, I enjoyed him, from the day I met him, and I think he cares tremendously. I think he works hard. I think he wants to be very, very good. I really like his practice habits. I think that's been one thing that he's displayed consistently is, he goes hard at practice. He runs hard. We're not tackling our tailbacks in practice. We'll thud off him, we'll tag him at times and different things like that. But he does work hard in practice. He's able to bounce back after a play, for example. If it doesn't go well, he can bounce back. I thought in this last game there was a couple runs. He really finished. He accelerated at the end of his run. He put his pads down, and he went and got 2.5, 3 more yards on a run. And just you add that up, the amount of times that we're able to do that and finish like that obviously helps us. So I think those things are what I've seen from him, just in practice and games, and I think he's improving, and his pass protection has been solid. And I really like just his approach. He's in the building. He's with Coach Cadillac. He's trying to learn. He's trying to get himself prepared. He's a guy that is not making the same mistake twice very often, and not one of the guys that forgets things. And is a guy that I think is improving, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this week in these practices and his habits and all that, and then what he's going to look like on game day.
Coach, our last question today comes from Haley Sutton.
Coach, after the game on Saturday, you walked over to the student section and everyone started chanting Harsin, Harsin. Just from your perspective, how much confidence does it give you going into Penn State, knowing you have a fan base who's really excited to have you in Auburn?
Well, I'd be a lot more confident if I could take all of our students with us to Penn State. So if we can get that done, I'll feel a lot better because they are awesome. They've done a great job the last 2 games, and I appreciate that. I think more so, like I appreciate them for supporting our players and being out there and providing the energy. I really meant that. Like 11 a.m. game, we had good energy from our crowd. We did, and I thought the student section, the last 2 games, they've been great, and I love that too. That's one of the things about playing in our stadium that I think is now being there the last 2 games, I think is something that separates us. I think our student section, I think that energy, I think, they get after it pretty good, even when we're on offense as well. So we probably need to make sure that we calm that down a little bit. But everything about you're not going to curb their enthusiasm whatsoever. And so it's great to have that support for our team. And then certainly, that's a part of our home field advantage that we have. And like I said, if we can take them on the road with us, I feel a lot more confident. But they've done a great job, and when we get back at home again and get a chance to play, I know that they'll be there and they'll continue to keep bringing that energy.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.